Hi guys, today I'm back with another installment in my 101 series, and today it is False Lashes 101. I have to begin with the disclaimer that I'm not an expert at this, but just like all the rest of the 101 videos, I'm going to tell you some tips and tricks that I learned and also just my best practices. I'm going to begin by telling you about the tools, different kinds of lashes, different kinds of products that can help you, and just kind of go through the gamut of all things false lashes. So if you'd like to learn more about false lashes and how to get them on your eyes and how to get them to stay on your eyes, then please keep watching. My number one tip right from the beginning is practice when you don't have to go anywhere. Whenever you're home for the day, just slap on a pair. Work with it, use different tools, use different glues, and find out what works best for you. That's my best rule of thumb, is practice when you don't have to go anywhere. Okay, let's begin with tools and products that you're going to need to apply false lashes. Obviously, you need a tool or your fingers. Some people can use their fingers. It doesn't work that great for me, maybe because I have big hands. But first of all, you need a tool to apply them. You can do anything from a very specialized tool that is made just for false lashes to just some basic tweezers. So I'm going to go through all the different little tools that I have here that I've tried, and I will tell you how they worked out for me. To begin with, I used an e.l.f. eyelash applicator. And what you do with this is kind of got a rubberized surface here. And what you do, let me grab a lash here. What you do with this is you place the false lash, the lash part with the band outward, like that, and then you use it to apply the lash onto your eye. I had difficulty with this because for some reason, I guess maybe glue touching it, I would let go and it would come back with me. So I didn't have a lot of success with this particular tool, but I tried with this one. There are also many tools that will come with a little beginner set. Like this came with Kiss Lashes. It's just a little, kind of the same thing. You put it in, you put the lash inside of it and you apply it. I'm not going to go through showing you on every single one of these, or we'll be here for 2 years, but I'm showing you some of these. This one would be to add it right on. This one would be kind of at an angle to add it on. As you can see, I've tried lots of different ones. Here's a metal one that has kind of that same shape. And I've had some success with some of these, but not much. This is actually a jewel or ornament tool for putting on nail art. These are very sharp, and I wouldn't recommend these for a beginner, but once you get some practice, it does have a very precise tip, and it would help you get exact placement. Obviously, you need to be very careful with any of these tools close to your eye. This is a medical tool that somehow my husband acquired, and I thought, wow, those are nice tips for applying false lashes. So I've tried that. Ultimately, I have kind of, by process of elimination, decided on just a regular $1 pair of tweezers from e.l.f. Just for the sake of being able to have a really tight grip, being able to get right into the lash line, and these have just worked well for me. I like the combination of these two tools. I like this one to apply, and this one has a curved where you can go in. Once your lashes are on, go in and press the lash band down into your actual lash. It just kind of merges them together. And when this is clean and it doesn't get stuck, it's an excellent tool. It does, all of these things pose their own little problems. I'm sorry to say that there's a lot of troubleshooting that goes on when you're putting on lashes. Another tool that you will need is a little pair of scissors like this, because chances are you're going to come up with a pair of lashes that are way longer than the actual length of your eyelid. And so you're going to have to trim. And I'll tell you this again, but when you're trimming, you need to trim always from the outside edge, because a lot of false lashes go from long to a shorter area that's tapered on the inner part. And if you cut that off, it will end up making the lash look the wrong dimension. Like it won't, the gradient and length will not look correct. So always trimming from the outside edge. You really need a good pair of scissors. Cuticle scissors work for this. I don't really know what these were for or where I got them, but it's got a really strong tip, a very pointy tip, and that's really an excellent pair, and that's what I use for trimming my own lashes. Next, we need to talk glue. And just like the tools, I've tried lots of different glues. Unfortunately, the only one that I don't have here is Duo or Japonesque, because I loaned them to my friend Becky and I haven't gotten them back. Anyways, they are in little squeezy tubes, so the product gets squeezed out of the end. I'm not a fan of that because it's difficult to control. Some people like to put the glue on a surface and put the glue on the lash from there. I like brush tips, wands. I'm going to show you a couple of these that didn't work out well for me, just so that you know. Doesn't mean it won't work out well for you, but just so you know. This is Salon Perfect, and I really do like Salon Perfect lashes, but this is a clear and very watery glue, and it didn't even hold on for an hour for me. So I kept that just for a point of reference. These are both the same brand. These are old and gummy, but I've kept them also for reference. It's the Revlon Precision Lash Glue. The two difference, this one is clear. They're both clear, but this one is latex free. This was a suggestion from Emily Noel, and this is excellent product, and I loved it, but I can't find it anymore, at least locally in my store. I haven't done an internet search, but if you can get this on the internet, the Revlon Precision Clear in the white tube is an excellent product and probably the best one that I've found. They do get it does kind of get gummy and gooey quickly, therefore the tube doesn't last you that long. When I started getting pretty good at lashes, I thought, oh, they've got a black lash glue. That would be great. There would never be any glue on my lash that's showing. That's wonderful, and it is good for that purpose. But if you're like me and you have a shaky or unsteady hand, if you go in shaky and you hit it up top and you have a black line of glue on your eye, it's not going to come off. So for sure, for beginners, I don't recommend this. Maybe for veterans, if you can get away with it, go for it. But for me, I have a difficult time with it. Now my Marley is outside barking outside my window. So guys, real life happens here. It doesn't matter how hard I try to have quiet or try to find a time when everyone's sleeping. I just can't seem to accomplish it. So you're just going to have to forgive all the noise that goes on around here. The other thing I wanted to show you is these tiny little ones that come with some lashes. I have some from Allure, I have some from Kiss, I have some from Elf. Now, the Kiss Lash Glue is the same as this lash glue that I'm getting ready to tell you about in a minute. This is a great thing for you to keep in your purse. That way, if you're out somewhere and your lash decides to detach or come loose, you have a way to put it back on. It has a tiny little plastic wand inside where you could go right in to the area that's unstuck and stick it. So the Allure and the Kiss ones aren't bad. They're good formula. The Elf is not so good. So if you get some Allure or Kiss lashes that come with the glue, just hang on to one of these so that you have one to keep in your purse. Now this was found only because I could not find the Revlon, I could not find Duo, I couldn't find anything else. And this is the Kiss Strip Lash Adhesive. And this is an excellent product. And as it gets a little bit older, it becomes more like the Revlon. And whenever it dries out just a tad, it becomes kind of the formula and the consistency of the Revlon. So I really like this. This will be my third tube of this, I believe. And it's a brush tip and it's clear. And it dries clear and it stays stuck. Absolutely stays stuck. Duo is a good brand. They do have, this is Duo here. They do have a clear in the brush tip, and they also have it in tubes. So it's really up to your preference. But if I'm going to recommend, I would say the clear Duo with the brush tip, or the Kiss Lash Adhesive with the brush tip, and of course the Revlon if you can find it. Leave e.l.f. alone. Leave Salon Perfect alone. I know that Ardell has one, but I've not tried it, so I can't give you an opinion on that. But if you want my opinion, I would start off with this. It's like $3 too, so it's very inexpensive for you. So far, these are my best suggestions. These tools, and you can get this on Amazon for like $12. Tweezers, scissors, and some good lash adhesive. So that's how we start, with good tools and good products. Okay, next let's talk about actual lashes. What kind do you get? Where do you get them? How do you know what to start with? How do you know what it's going to look like once you get it on your eye? There's all these questions. I'm going to start off with kind of going with a price range and giving you some idea of the cost of different kinds of lashes, and just kind of show you some different kinds of lashes so that you can see kind of what's out there. I am a lash junkie, and so therefore I have a little bit of everything. So I'm going to start off with the very cheapest that you can find. And I found these on Amazon. I've got these all stacked over here, so hopefully we won't hear crashes. Hopefully I can get them over here and talk about them without an avalanche. Okay, the first ones that I'm going to talk about are the very, very cheapest ones. And I got these on Amazon. And I mean, you can get hundreds of pairs for less than $20. They usually come from China or somewhere in Asia, and it usually takes several weeks for them to get here, but they come very, very inexpensively. This is what I suggest whenever you're practicing, for two reasons. Number one, you're not going to mess up a pair of expensive lashes. And number two, these are not great. They're not very pliable. They aren't very moldable, and therefore they're difficult to work with. But because they're difficult to work with, when you're practicing, if you can get these to stay on, you can get better quality lashes to stay on. So these are what I practice with. These are what I give to people who are just getting started, so that they can have something that's inexpensive to practice with and get some good practice in with some lashes that aren't very cooperative. So that's the beginning. And these, of course, are strip lashes. These are individual lashes. You can get these. These actually I got at the dollar store, and this is a Broadway brand, and they're pretty easily dropped. Speaking of shaky hands. Individual lashes. And these are good if you'd like to just kind of put a couple on the outside of your lash line, just to kind of make your outer lashes look a little bit thicker. You can go, they have all different sizes, and you can go from the outside all the way in. You basically take each individual lash, dip it in the glue, and stick it right into your lash line. Time consuming, not something that I have time to mess around with. Totally up to you. It is a good beginner lash. If you just want to add a few to make your lashes look a little bit fuller, then that's probably a good way to practice too, but it's not the same as applying a strip lash. Now I'm going to kind of get into the mid-level price range. And these are all kind of what I would call drugstore lashes. And they're available at Walmart, Walgreens, those kind of places. And they would range kind of from $2 to $5 per pair. With Ardell and Salon Perfect and those kind of lash companies, a lot of times they offer multi-packs for cheaper. So for instance, it would be $3 or $4 for one pair, or you could get 4 pairs for $8. Obviously, the multi-packs are going to be better value. And what I've got here is, and some of these are used and some are not. These are Ardell Demi Wispies. This is just a very basic, beautiful pair of lashes. Demi Wispies are almost always a good place to start because they are very pretty. They don't look over the top, and the lash band is pretty thin and transparent, and so they're very forgiving. There's also the Kiss Lash that is a Demi Wispy, pretty similar. There's also a Salon Perfect. In fact, these may be Salon Perfect. I think they are because it looks real similar. I've got a little pack here, Salon Perfect, with the Demi Wispies, but Ardell Demi Wispies look almost identical. And as you can see, this one has a little tool. It has a little tube of glue. I've not used the Salon Perfect in the tube, so I don't have an opinion on that, but this is a multi-pack. I think it was like $5. Another kind of mid-level price is another Amazon find, and these are some of my very favorite lashes. These come in 6 packs. These are Christina lashes, and these are kind of dupes for red cherry lashes, which are a little bit more expensive. I've never tried those because I started off with the Christina dupes because they were so inexpensive. They come in 6 packs like this for about $11 or $12. So they're just like $2 a piece. And the ones that I like best from Christina are Demi Wispies and Wispies. And the only difference between Wispies and Demi Wispies are Demi Wispies get real tapered in on the inner corner. They're shorter, and the Wispies go long all the way across. I really like these because they crisscross and they're really wispy on the ends. They have a really thin band and it's very pliable. These are really nice lashes, also kind of in that mid price range. Also in kind of the mid price range, but on a little bit of a pricier side, are some new ones that I have been using lately, and I really like them. Kiss lashes are the ones that I'm talking about, and these are a little bit on the higher side. They'll run you more like $5 or $6 a pair. I have 2 different ones. They've got several different kinds or types in their line. They claim to be 3-dimensional, and a lot of times there's like 3 different layers of lashes. There's lots of benefits for paying a little bit extra because they're really beautiful lashes. But these are the Demi Wispies. The ones that I've really been loving lately, these are faux mink. Mink lashes are very expensive, and we'll get into that in a minute. But these are called Lash Couture by Kiss, and I've really been loving these. I've got Boudoir and Midnight. One of my favorites, they didn't have them when I was trying to buy a replacement or backup pair, is Little Black Dress. And you'll see these in some of my videos because I've worn them several times. They're beautiful. And so are the Boudoir. I've worn these. The cool part about these is they're pretty hardy, and I've worn each one of these pairs about 5 times, and they're still okay. But these are more like $6 a piece. These do come with a little bitty thing of glue. So those are kind of on the higher end of the mid-level. Now let's move in to some pricier lashes. And I'm kind of going to go from least expensive to most expensive. All right. On the lower side of expensive, and these are available on Amazon, and these are from, I'm forgetting her name entirely. She's a YouTuber. These are called Social Eyes. These go from slightly natural to very dramatic. And these are about $8 a piece. If you buy multi-packs, they're less expensive. But they come very quickly. They're in beautiful packaging. Maybe her name will come to me, but these are really good lashes. Kind of on the lower side of expensive. $10, $12, depending on how you buy them. Singly, 10 to 12 bucks. If you buy a multi-pack of like 3, I think it kicks a couple dollars off. But these are really beautiful. And I really like these a lot. Moving up to a little bit higher price, we've got Huda lashes, and these are 20 bucks a piece. These are the Farrah, and these are cut, and I've worn these many times. They're beautiful lashes. They're very big and very dramatic. They're about $20. These lashes I got in Boxycharms or one of those subscription programs, and these are mink lashes, and mink lashes are going to be really expensive. They can be upwards of 30 bucks depending, but those lashes that do cost that much, you can wear 15, 20 times before they start to break down. The more expensive ones that do last a long time end up having a very thick, strong band usually, and that's what holds them together for so long. Which makes them not as easy to work with. And obviously, if you're a beginner, you don't want to start with a $30 pair of lashes that you could easily ruin. You want to kind of be a veteran when you get to that point. But the point of, I haven't worn these yet, of mink lashes is that they're supposed to be very pretty, fluttery, wispy, and natural looking as far as the material is concerned. These are by Lena Lashes. There's millions of different names. Here goes the avalanche. These are called Eyelashy, and this is the Heartbreaker. These are mink lashes. These came in a Boxycharm. I recently got these Lily lashes, and these are faux mink lashes off of Haute Look, and these range usually about $25 to $30. But they were on sale, and I think they were all like $12 or $13, so I got quite a few when they were on sale. So you can catch sales on Haute Look. One thing I don't have over here, just because I don't have any right now, and I need to restock. In fact, I saw today on Ulta they're 50% off. Eyelure lashes are very beautiful lashes. There's Vegas Nay Eyelure lashes that are very dramatic and long and kind of elaborate, and all the way down to very, very natural lashes. And I really enjoy the Eyelure really natural lashes, but I enjoy all of them. But they are very good, kind of on the lower side, kind of like the Socialize, on the lower side of the expensive side of things. Eyelure can be found all over the place: Target, Walmart, Ulta. They have them at Kohl's. There's lots of different places you can find Eyelure lashes, and the Eyelure glue that comes in with them is pretty good. So all of that. So we know what to use, what kinds there are, where in the world do you start? And if I was going to make a suggestion as to somebody who has never ever worn lashes ever in their life, I would start with the ones from Amazon for really inexpensive, or the Christina lashes that were really inexpensive. Anything that's only going to cost you a couple bucks a pair, where you know that you're not going to be heartbroken if you mess them up. Also, like I said, if they're a little bit difficult to work with, you have to learn how to really maneuver the lash and figure out how to get it on your eye. So, these I would really practice on. If you want to go out in public once you have them on, this might be a good thing to practice on. And the reason, and let me show you the difference. I'll do a comparison among 3 different lashes. Okay, let's look at the band on the Christina lashes. It's almost non-existent. It's very, very thin, very, like, except for where the lashes are actually attached, it's almost invisible. And these are really light. so they're forgiving as to where you put them. Moving up into the next realm, these are kind of middle level. These are thicker, but they're not that thick, and they're still very pliable. And then you get into something like Lily lashes, and there's a very thick, not as pliable band. It's kind of rigid. Now, after you've cut them and worn them on your eye, getting them on your eye is a lot easier. It kind of molds to your eye, and then you can just boop, pop them on. But when you're first beginning with them, it's really not that easy to get these more expensive thick banded lashes to lay and stay where you want them. That's another suggestion when you're going to be using some lashes like this. Cutting them and just putting them on your eyes when you don't have to go anywhere is a really good thing to do. That way, when you are going to be putting them on to wear them out, they're already shaped and molded to your eye, and that makes the application process so much easier. I tend to really gravitate towards ones that I've already worn as in comparison to the ones that are brand new, because I know that they're going to go on really easily because they already fit right. They're already molded right to the shape of my eye. So that's another benefit to wearing one pair more than once. And so I am going to do a demo today with the Christina lashes, just because I have a brand new pair. I can go in and show you how to measure and how to cut, and then it'll be easy for me to put these on and actually show you like I know what I'm doing. So I'm going to get these open, get my tools all ready for me, and we'll get started on showing you how to get these babies on your eyes. The first thing is actually getting into the package. Another suggestion, keep the packaging, because after you take them off your eye, if you put them right back, stick them right back to the original packaging, it will retain the shape, and that's really good. If you stick them somewhere and they're all fanned out in a straight line, it makes it more difficult to get them back on, and they don't look as good on a second wear or second or third wear if you don't put them back where they're curved to be stored. I like these. I just stick it back on there, put it back, and it doesn't take up much space. These are just great lashes all the way around. All right, so we know what to use. We know what to start with. Now let's actually get into the process from beginning to end of putting on a lash. The first thing is getting them off of the packaging without messing them up. I've seen some people suggest using your thumb and putting it up at the top of the band and pulling down. I haven't had very good luck with that. I've actually run some lashes doing it that way. You can grab the end of it and start to pull. It's another way to kind of mess them up if you're not careful. What I do is I take a pair of tweezers and I go right up underneath. It's going to be hard for me to show you. Right up underneath the edge and just pull a little bit of it up. And then begin to pull it away from the packaging a little bit at a time. And as I move, I'm sorry, I wasn't showing. As I move across, I move my tweezers across so that I'm not pulling from a long way away from the band. Like that. And once I have it off of the packaging, now it's time for me to measure it on my eye. Some will fit your eye automatically. It'll fit. It's long enough. But most lashes are made longer than what's needed so that they're going to fit even the largest eye. So if you have a smaller eye, I would consider my eye to kind of be in the middle somewhere. You're going to have to cut some of the lash off. So what I do is, just like if I'm applying it, I take a tweezer and I put it on the tweezer and I just set it on my eye. And there is some kind of sticky adhesive on it from it being stuck to the packaging. And so there is a little bit of stickiness, so it'll stay. And as you can see, basically you don't want any of this sticking out beyond your lash line, and you really don't want like a centimeter of your inner tear duct area. You don't want this way down here, because if it gets way down there, it's gonna, every time you blink your eye, it's gonna tickle and itch. If you have a lash on correctly, you're not even gonna know that it's there. And that's another reason why I love these Christina lashes, because I don't have to cut these. But I could cut them a little bit just so that it's not so far into my inner corner, and for the sake of, come off, for the sake of showing you how to cut them, I'm going to take off a little bit of this outside edge. So if you can see, there's little sections there. That makes it easy to know where to cut it. What I do is, it's going to be difficult for me to show you, is I go right into where that section is, and that's where I cut it. And I took off that little bitty bit. And so I know how much I've taken off. On my next lash, I can just go and take the exact same amount off of that one. While I'm working with the other lash, I stick this one back onto the packaging. Now again, just for a second show, go right into the very edge, pull it up a little bit, and work your way across, just staying close to where you're pulling so that you're not pulling it away. And since I know how much I cut off of the other one, I'm going to cut off the exact same amount on this one. I'm just going to cut off that very last little section. And now I have them both sized for me. All right, now, one suggestion that some make, and it's not really necessary on these Christina lashes just because they're already very pliable, but if you've got a really thick band that's very rigid, sometimes if you'll roll it back and forth like this, it will kind of give it more of a curve, which will make it easier to get on your eye. All right, so application. You need to make sure you have your tools ready. You need to make sure that your tools are not sticky with any kind of glue. They will get some on them from time to time just from the application process, and that will be a problem for you once you're applying them if you have. So make sure your tools are clean. Have your lash glue ready and your lash ready. And the best way for me is I take my tweezer, I go right up next to, I don't know if you can see, there we go, right up close to the band, and I get a good grip on it, and then I go in with my glue. Sometimes you think more is better, and that's not necessarily the case with lash glue. You don't want big blobs of it. And so whenever I pull the wand out, I kind of brush some of it off. And you're just going to go right along the lash band. And I'm blind without my glasses on, so I really should have brought them in here for this. But you go right along the top of the lash band, and you're just putting a thin layer. You just want to make sure that you can see the glue, but we don't want big globs of it. We just want a nice uniform thin layer like that. Let me see if I can show you. One thing I do is I go in again, dip the wand again, and then I put a little bit extra on the outer corners, because if anything's going to lift, that's going to lift. And so you definitely want to make sure that you've got enough glue on your outer corners. Now, a mistake people make at this level, or this period of the game, is they go right in. You have to allow your, don't drop it. And you know, I drop it almost every time, and I lose it almost every time. Don't do that. Not exactly where I wanted it to be. So, as I said, not an expert. Now, if you should drop it like I just did, chances are you've lost all your lash glue because it's wiped off on whatever you dropped it on. So, one tip, the higher you hold it, the better the grip. I should have done that. So, one more chance to show you. Go back in with the lash glue. Make a very thin line across the top. Try not to get the lash glue on the lash part. And what I was trying to tell you is, if you go in with glue that has not dried for a little bit and is not tacky, you will end up with a lash that doesn't stay in place where you want it to stay, because it will slip and slide around. Now, let me make sure I keep a grip on this. You would think as many times as I've dropped this that I would pay closer attention, but when I'm talking, forget what my hand's doing. Now, you can shake it back and forth. You can put it in front of a fan. You can set it down and do your lips or something while you're waiting. I blow on it. I've had people say that's very not sanitary. Obviously, it's probably not sanitary and not a best thing to do. But when you're in a hurry, you know, you do what you got to do. And definitely not if you're going to be putting it on somebody else's eye. But if it's your eye, you decide. All right. Now, it's going to be difficult for me to show you. I'm going to try to get at a good angle without sticking my hand in blocking the area. So I'm going to be looking back and forth. The first thing that you need to know is that you're not sticking it on your lashes. You're trying to stick it in the area between your skin and where your lashes come out. Right there. The closest you can get to your lash line and still get it on skin is where you want the lash to land. So the best angle that you go in at is from up top, not straight ahead, because if you do it straight ahead, you're going to end up getting it in your lashes, and you don't want to get it in your lashes. So you go in, I don't know if I can show you without blocking it. You go in and you set the lash in the center. Set it down in the center of your eye. And if it's tacky, it'll stay there. Now you're going to grab I like to start with the outside, and I'm going to pull it down where I want it and set it down. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the inner corner. I'm going to put it where I want it. And then you're going to take a look, see if the lash is where you want it to be. Sometimes people like to push them up. Just make sure that your corners are down. I usually just push on them. Sometimes I use the back of my tweezers just to go along the lash line and make sure it's down. Now, I don't use the lash tool to squeeze them together until they've had a little bit of time to dry. Because if you do go in like that, with it tacky still, it will get stuck, and we don't want it to get stuck. So while that one's drying, we're going to go through this process again. I'm going to put my tweezer about right there on the lash. I'm going to hold on to it. Hold on for dear life. Put on a, and I didn't give you a time frame on how long to wait. About 30 seconds, even up to a minute. I mean, the tackier the better, really. Obviously, you don't want to let the glue dry, but you do want it to give it a chance to get tacky. Think about Elmer's glue at school, Elmer's glue. If you put a dot of it somewhere, think about how long it would take for it to actually harden. There's a in between, a curing process in between. And remember to put a little bit of extra on the outside. But there's a curing process in between. And okay. That's how I get distracted, and that's how I drop them. If you put them next to a fan or you blow on it, it's going to get tacky faster. That's why I do it. And you can tell because when it starts to get tacky, because like right now it's still really white. I think Duo turns blue whenever it's tacky, so that's a good thing for beginners. This doesn't do it. The Revlon does that too. It turns blue. But as you can see, it starts to look less white because it's starting to dry. Once it gets there. Okay, I don't know how to show this to you. It's hard on a left eye with a right-handed person. But here I go, and if I block it, I'm sorry, but I'm going to explain the process. You go in, set it right in the center, let go. Like this one is way over there too far. I'm going to pull this outside line or outside into where I want it and set it down onto my lash line. Then I'm going to go to my front and set it down onto my lash line. You're basically only connecting the outer edge, the outer corner, and the inner. The rest of it pretty much takes care of itself if you put it in the right place to begin with. Okay? So now that one's there. I'm pressing down to make sure that it is on my lash line, and it is. And now, cross your fingers. I'm going to go in with this. It's got the curved side is going to go towards my eye, and I just open it, and I put it around my natural and the false lash, and I get as close as I can to the line, and I squeeze it. Then I move in further and do the same thing. I usually don't do it on my inner corner because it has a tendency to disrupt my eyeliner. Now, sometimes putting your false lash down. Now, I didn't show you how to do this without eyeliner, and let me tell you why. If you're a beginner, I probably wouldn't do that. You have to be pretty good at placing and connecting lashes to put it onto an eye that has nothing black. It's just your skin. So I wouldn't recommend it. I would recommend to at least put down a black line of eyeliner, at least until you get some practice in. It hides a lot of application mistakes. If you have a really thin band, you're not going to see it at all. But occasionally, when you're placing it and getting the lash where you want, sometimes the glue will tug your skin and cause your skin to move down just a millimeter, and it will disrupt the line of your eyeliner. Like I'm looking at this, and I think it's really hard to tell without closing your eye. I think that my eyeliner line is fine, but I do see a little bit of a white cast over here, which kind of means that maybe some glue is still showing. And so you can go along your lash line with your eyeliner pen, even into this part, and just make sure that there's none of your lash band that's showing. The black liner will disguise it. a lot of people take a black eyeliner. Let me find the pencil eyeliner. And I'm not going to do it, and I'll explain to you why. But most of you know how to tight line. Tight line meaning, and I'm using a colored so that you can see it, going up into your waterline and going back and forth to make the pink part of your eye black. The reason I don't do that is because I have I have watery eyes, and if I put the black up here, it ends up down here, it ends up pooling here, it ends up being a hot mess. So I don't do that. But if you go up in with a black eyeliner and tight line, it will hide any pink skin, and it does help disguise the lash band as well. So that's another option for people who don't have watery eyes like me. Now, this one should be dry enough for me to go in with the tool and squeeze. Fingers crossed. Good deal. It didn't stick. So I also use this one to push them up. Okay, so now I've got my lashes on, and they are squeezed together. They're where I want them. They're looking beautiful. The only other step that I would take, and I would use maybe like L'Oreal Lash Paradise or Better Than Sex, or at least a kind of mascara that has a lot of bristles, a lot of little bristles. And the reason is, as you pull it through, it's going to kind of mesh your natural lashes with the false lashes. Because your false lashes are beautiful and black and perfect, unless you just want kind of spidery looking lashes, and some people like that, so all power to you. But the lashes are beautiful the way they are. The only reason that you would go in with the mascara is to blend your lashes in with the false lashes. And so in order to do that, is all you have to do is go in with the mascara at the base of your lash and basically just kind of bump it up in there, and I'll show you. But you don't, the point being, you don't have to pull it through the lashes. You just need to go right here at the base and be careful. Don't stab yourself in the eye. And I just went right along the base. I didn't pull through. I don't really want a bunch of mascara on my false lash, particularly if I'm going to plan on wearing it several times. So same thing, I'm going to go right up underneath, just on the very base of my lashes. And I'm going to go in here with my eyeliner. I do see a few spots, like right here where I can see the glue. And I'm going to go through and just right at the base there, cover up any of that band that might be showing. With these Christina lashes, they really have a band that hides very well into the lash line. So, that's where we are so far. I'm going to add one more thing before I go, and that is, what do I do when my lashes look like this? They have 14 different wears of glue on them. Is that going to stay on there forever? Here's the thing. If you have a bunch of lash glue from 2 or 3 wears built up onto your lash band, it's going to keep your lash from sitting flushly, is that a word? Sitting flush to your lash line. And so maybe once or twice you can wear it without cleaning them, but if you let it accumulate, it is going to interfere with it placing it on your eye where it needs to be. That made no sense. If you have a bunch of buildup of glue, it is going to interfere with you getting the lash in the correct place without any bumps or looking all funky on your lash line. And so I want to show you how I clean my lashes. Some people grab, and I'll show you this, but I'm not going to do it because with me it's not safe. I'm getting a makeup remover wipe. Some people grab the lash and go through with their tweezers and pull the glue off, that's a really easy way to destroy your lash. If you grab the wrong thing and pull, you can just mess up the lash. So what I do sometimes go along with tweezers and pull, but what I do first is I take a makeup wipe, I lay the lash inside of the makeup wipe, and then I close the makeup wipe over it, and I just hold it in between, and I just kind of manipulate. I just kind of roll my fingers back and forth across the band. And what that's doing is removing any mascara that is built up at the base, and it's also softening the glue. So you can even just let it sit there for a little while and let it soften, but I find the best results are from just kind of running my fingers back and forth across the band. And as you can see, it's taking off the excess mascara, that little bit of mascara that you put on there. It's taking that, and you can kind of very gently rub back and forth here. You don't want to get too happy doing that, or you can mess up the lash. But once you do that, and I would give it probably at least a minute, you can use your fingernails to grab a hold of the glue and pull it off. You can also use tweezers at this point just to grab it. Just make sure you're not grabbing too much of the lash band, and you can pull off. You can see I'm kind of messing it up right now just as we speak, which means I didn't give it enough time. But anyways, more time in between. I would just let them sit there for a little while. Make sure that the glue is soft, and using your fingernail to pull it off is probably the best bet. You can use tweezers, but like I said, you've got to be real careful, or you can disrupt the band, and then the lashes move, and then it's all messed up. You can even use a tool like this just to go in on the very edge. Once it's softened and you start to pull it, it'll come off real easy. It's hard for me. I don't know if you can see, but it's like pulling off just a tiny bit of glue. And sometimes if you can get a good grip on it, you can pull it all the way across, and it'll pull a lot of the glue off. I really need to keep my glasses nearby when I'm doing videos like this, but I don't know if you can see. Probably not, but that glue is being pulled off. And so that's my suggestion for cleaning them. Once you've let it set with some makeup remover, basically, that's in the wipe, and once you've let it get real soft, and you'll be able to tell if it's soft or not. It won't come off easily if it's not. But once you've let it soften, and you can take your fingernail, or you can take some tweezers and really get that off of there, it makes the application for the next wear a lot easier. You can not let it accumulate to begin with, but on a first or second wear, it's usually going to be so minimal that you wouldn't really be able to get a hold of it anyway. So 2 or 3 wears in, when it starts to look funky on the, like not smooth on the band, that's when you need to clean them and get the glue off. One other thing that I have that I really have enjoyed, and I would like to have one that had more spaces, but I got this on Amazon for like $3. It's just kind of like a little lash boudoir. And as you can see, these are lashes that I've used. It has 3 little spots for you to keep them on. I have another pair up here, but I just keep my lashes, especially like kind of dramatic lashes that I don't wear often. I keep them in here. And this way, if you were traveling, you could bring several extra pair, or just as a place to keep them if you lost the packaging. But anyway, this is like, I don't know, $3 to $5 on Amazon. So that is all the information I have for you on eyelashes. I hope this was beneficial and helpful, and I hope that you learned something. I hope that it will be a good guide for you whenever you're attempting to learn how to put on false lashes. I myself think that a look is not complete until the false lashes are on. I am disappointed when I don't have enough time to put them on, because I think every look gets amped up and looks even more beautiful when you add some lashes, particularly when you have no lashes, nearly no lashes, or ones that point straight out like me. It just makes the look so much more beautiful in my opinion. So hopefully you guys will just go grab some cheapo lashes and start practicing. And if you need any advice or guidance along the way, give me a shout and I will be glad to help you out. Just put it in the comments or shoot me a message, and I'll be glad to help you. If you have a particular issue, I can at least tell you my experience with it. But thank you so much for being here. I appreciate your time, and I sure hope that this was beneficial and helpful for you. I know my eyelash journey has been a rocky road, but I do feel pretty confident now in putting them on, and I really do enjoy having beautiful lashes. If you've enjoyed this video, I hope that you will give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed already, I hope that you'll do that before you leave. Thank you again for being here, and until next time, take care and God bless. Bye, guys.
I'm not a saint, I'm just a man who's stuck in consequence, waiting while